This is Let's Talk Sports Radio with the sports guy, Jordan Armani, brought to you by Gino's Pizzeria on 94.9 Bob FM.
Welcome back. Undisputed Era theme right there for all you wrestling fans. Oh, Pascal, the lines are still open, 233-9494. But we're going to start off with a little bit of UFC tonight. UFC on ESPN 3. Dos Santos, Ngannou. This is going to be an absolute war. Joining me now, Seaford Russell Jr. to talk UFC on ESPN 3. Ngannou, the Predator, Francis Ngannou, the number one contender to the heavyweight belt versus a former heavyweight champion, Junior Dos Santos. What's up, Seaf?
Thank you, Jordan, for having me on this cool show.
You only begged me for 7 months, so here you are, sir. All right, make your case. Ngannou.
So I am extremely pumped for the main event. Actually, the main event is going to be a real heavy-hitting one. Definitely not going to decision. Maybe after Francis Ngannou fought Stipe, maybe this fight would have gone to decision, but not now. Francis is on a roll right now. You know, he's gained back his confidence after that loss to Stipe and Derek Lewis, and I think that this one is not coming out the first round.
Yeah, I mean, this fight is so scary because you have Ngannou. He is exactly what UFC wants in a heavyweight champion. He is like Mike Tyson was to boxing in the 80s and 90s. He's a knockout puncher. You know, he is a violent man. He was homeless like 10 years ago, new to the sport, moved, from Cameroon to France, wanted to be a boxer, but instead got coached into being a mixed martial artist. And, the story with Ngannou, obviously, this is a man, he took Alistair Overeem's head off. You know what I mean? He left him unconscious and almost in rigor mortis. We're talking almost 2 years ago. So, yes, he's got his confidence back. He ruined Cain Velasquez's return to the ring in February by knocking him out.
That win is a little bit questionable.
Why?
Because clearly Cain wasn't out. I think it was more so to do with his knee.
No, he hit him in the head. We talked about this. Actually, I have a segment with Aaron Bronstetter, TSN MMA reporter, the best in Canada, sir. He hit him in the head, and you hit him in the temple, and his legs went. As you know, if a fighter gets hit in a certain spot, they get rocked, they lose their legs. That's what happened. It has nothing to do with his knees. Now, he hasn't even got knee surgery. He's just making stuff up because he had his return spoiled. But, I mean, this is the thing. You had these two fights. Stipe coming up, at the end of the summer in August, you have the rematch, Stipe versus Daniel Cormier. So obviously the winner of tonight's fight is going to be in line for the number one contender and will get that fight. Hopefully, UFC fans will get it maybe on New Year's Eve or something like that. Just enough time for these guys to recoup and get back in the octagon. I think if you're looking at this fight, it's going to be heavy boxing and just really heavy hands, but I think this is a fight, you have Junior Dos Santos, 3 wins in a row, Derek Lewis, Tai Tuivasa, Evoy Blaganov, can't remember the what's his name again?
That was the one before he took off.
Blagoy Ivanov,
Right.
Sorry, I mixed his name up. So he's in a 3, right? And then, so for a former heavyweight champion, I think the old UFC fans kind of want to see that. And he also lost to Stipe, you know what I mean? Yep. So, and he got knocked out by Stipe as well. So, either way, if you're a Stipe fan, if you're a Cormier fan, if you're an Ngannou fan, if you're a Dos Santos fan, we're going to get a good fight. And this is, without question, the number one contender. Without question, it's the number one contender fight. And it's probably the fight that most people want to see on this card.
And speaking of knockouts, Francis is well known for dishing them out, but he doesn't receive them. The guy has a steel chin. He's been hit with so many shots. All of his losses, in fact, are by decision. Yeah. No one has ever finished this guy. And I really think this is going to be it certainly won't go to the ground, but if it does, I think that Junior Dos Santos will have the advantage.
100%.
He's way well rounded than Francis. Has way more experience, been around.
Jiu-jitsu black belt. So,
exactly.
Junior's, he's got that Brazilian, Portuguese, jiu-jitsu background, former champion. I mean, I like that Dos Santos, but this is the thing about the UFC. I like how in the UFC you can rebuild your star once really quickly. You look at the heavyweight, the heavyweight picture, and I mean Cormier's got maybe 2 fights left. He's got maybe 3. I think I heard Dana White say, he's got 3 fights left. This one, he's gonna, I heard John Jones and Cormier maybe want to do it at heavyweight, and maybe one more. I don't know, but. Either way, I think tonight's fight is gonna. I think someone's gonna get permanently injured in this fight. I think it's gonna be Junior Dos Santos. I like Junior Dos Santos. I love one of the greatest walkout songs in mixed martial arts. He's got the Rocky song. You know what I mean? Fly High. So
he's a very classy guy and a very humble guy as well. Both of these
great
guys
boxer too.
Yeah. Both of these guys are very humble. I think both of these guys are extremely confident. None of them are scared of each other.
No.
Francis is not intimidated, and Junior Dos Santos is not intimidated either. And I think that this is going to be a stand in the middle of the octagon type of thing, and it's going to be a throwdown. I really, really do not think that this is going to come out of the first round. I have been wrong before. When the Derek Lewis and Francis Ngannou fight happened, everyone thought that was going to end in a matter of seconds. But, after they earned each other respect and they started to back off from each other. So I don't know if that's going to happen in this fight, but I really do think that this is going to be a knockout first round type of fight.
Fair enough. I think, Ngannou's an interesting guy, right? Knocks out Velasquez, takes out Curtis Blades for a second time prior to that. And then the Derek Lewis fight, I remember I was watching it with my roommate, Brad. And he likes UFC, but I'm like, this is the guy. This is the guy the brand is building around. He is, Brock Lesnar without all the drama. He is a freak of nature. And then he steps in there with Derek Lewis last July, and, they throw a combined below 30 punches. It's ridiculous, you know what I mean? And Derek Lewis wins by decision. Derek Lewis then gets a nice little run at at heavyweight.
Yep.
He gets smashed by Dos Santos. He gets a title shot. He gets right to Cormier. So, I think when it comes down to it, I like Junior Dos Santos. I like his story. He's very affable. He's a great personality. But I also like Ngannou. I mean, again, so new to the sport, and just. He's just so just go Google Ngannou. You know what I mean? Just go Google him and thank me later. But
someone else I have my eye on for this fight fight card here.
Yeah.
That I think people are kind of left him in the shadows a little bit is Roosevelt Roberts. I think this guy has huge potential in the UFC. I watched his last fight, and it was just phenomenal. That guy, he has a great future. And I really hope that he wins this fight and continue to do good. I think his last win was against a guy named Thomas Grifford or something like that. It was a decision win, but it was a dominant decision win.
He's 8-0, and in the UFC. Just taking a quick look here, Ultimate Fighter finale. 28, so winner, Ultimate Fighter finale winner, and then he fought on Jacare Hermanson, Thomas Gifford.
Yeah.
So he fought. So, but prior to that, Bellator guy. But yeah, looks like a decent fighter, 8-0. Moving forward, I would say coming up, so we have next week, we'll have Aaron Bronstetter on to talk 239. We've got John Jones, Thiago. This card is loaded. This is one of the most loaded cards of the year. John Jones taking on Thiago Santos, UFC 239. Amanda Nunes for the light heavyweight strap. Amanda Nunes puts the bantamweight title up on the line against Holly Holm. George Masvidal, welterweight tilt with Ben Askren. Luke Rockhold moves up to light heavyweight to fight Jan Blachowicz. I mean, this card is ridiculous.
That's going to be a bombshell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you think about those fights, Seif?
Man, you know what? In the UFC, it's very, very, very unpredictable to call a fight because anything can happen. Listen, I've seen the best of the best get takedown, and no one ever thought it would happen. You know, I really don't want to throw Thiago out the picture, but Jon Jones is just on a different level, and I really do think that Jon Jones will lay out another dominant performance on this guy.
Do Jon Jones is trying to get his one and only loss reversed so that he has a perfect record? I read that this week.
And he should. I mean, and I saw actually, it's funny that you mentioned that because Matt Hamill actually he put out something on social media suggesting that he will run it back with Jones as long as he keeps it clean. And then to which Jones replied, he didn't thought that Matt Hamill would say such things. You know, he respected him over the years. And I think that a lot of these guys are just using Jones' name as a platform to continue to be relevant. At the end of the day, Jon Jones is the greatest, and that fight with Matt Hamill, he clearly destroyed him. He destroyed him and
of course, the reason why he lost, illegal elbows. So
correct.
12-6 elbow.
Correct.
But this is really early in his career. This is 10 years ago. So, I don't think you'll find much argument. I mean, you'll find a few Canadians like myself arguing that George St. Pierre is the greatest mixed martial artist of all time. George St. Pierre still has the most title defenses compared to Jones, numbers-wise. But in terms of the light heavyweight class, Jon Jones is, nobody's going to argue that Jon Jones isn't the greatest mixed martial artist of all time. But, in terms of title defenses, GSP is ahead of him, just in terms of numbers of how many times he's defended his belt more than Jones. Jones is only, 5 or 6 away. I'd have to look the numbers up. We talked about it the other day, actually. But
yeah. And another fight on that card.
The whole fight. This card's ridiculous.
Amanda Nunes
first female double champ.
Holly Holmes.
Mm-hmm.
Both women defeated Ronda Rousey.
Yep.
Man, that's gonna be a cracker. And Holly Holmes is one of the sweetest fighters I've ever seen. She's so humble. And she's dangerous at the same time. And then you're looking at a woman like Amanda Nunes, just an absolute beast, just an absolute freak of nature. She's so powerful.
Yeah.
For her, I don't want to say for a woman, but she's extremely powerful.
Well, you look at what her last fight, 232, back in December, and she knocked out Cyborg, who changed her name to Cyborg. You know what I mean? And she is a character. She was someone with her own path of destruction, and someone that couldn't get fights. She's 20-2, and one of her losses came at the beginning of her first fight of her career. Then she went on a 19-fight tear, and she couldn't get fights. And I mean, again, with the small talent pool and female mixed martial artists, another, Cyborg went to a decision and won against Holly Holm as well.
Yep.
But when I rewatched that fight actually a few days ago on YouTube, they got it free right now on their YouTube page, UFC does, and the pure and total, people were still sleeping on Amanda Nunes going into that fight.
Yeah, they were.
And then she absolutely stole the soul of Chris Cyborg and just destroyed her. There's another clean shots to the face, knees buckles, gets up, just smashed her. Just absolutely smashed her. 51 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
So I think what Holly Holm has going for her, she's a multi-time kickboxing champion. She's a former champion as well. Beating Ronda Rousey is definitely something that you could, plant your flag in. But let's be real. I think Ronda Rousey was good for the sport. She's like what Vince Carter did for the Toronto Raptors, but the sport passed her by, and women got more talented, and they basically, the sport passed her by. So yes, beating Ronda Rousey is one thing, but I think, just the pure power that Nunes has. She's just like she's a beast.
She won't be able to hit Holly the way she hit Cyborg though, because Cyborg
because she can move a lot better because of her kickboxing background.
Exactly.
She's gonna be coming in on angle. You see the way that she fought, Ronda Rousey.
Yep.
Ronda Rousey came forward. She chased her. Holm was getting in and out quick, in moving, side to side, circling. She's not going to get caught in the pocket. She's not stupid enough to stand in the pocket with Amanda Nunes.
And she's very patient. Because Cyborg was getting a little desperate. She was getting hit. She doesn't like to get hit. And she came forward and she paid for it. But Holly
with her hands on her hips, too, which if you go back and watch that fight, like, what are you doing? Why are your hands so low, Cyborg?
Exactly. Jorge Masvidal, Ben Askren is another. That's another. Actually, besides the main event,
yeah.
That one is actually one I'm very interested to see.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, you look at Masvidal. He, he's coming off a layoff, comes in, knocks out Darren Till, who had a lot of hype. Coming off a title. A missed opportunity with a title shot, but then you look at Ben Askren. He's probably he was the best fighter not to be in the UFC. He goes in and he wins controversially versus Robbie Lawler. So, but Ben Askren uses a little bit of it shows what you can do in sports. A little bit of personality. He gets kind of talks his way into a pretty, again, another fight that could be a title contender. Now, right now, Kamaru Usman is recovering from injuries. Mm-hmm. And just recently, finally, Colby Covington
signs a deal
to fight Robbie Lawler, which pretty much means the winner of those two fights are going to face in a number one contender. I don't think that Ben Askren, after one questionable win versus Robbie Lawler, UFC 235. That was a few. I mean, he doesn't deserve a title shot. He doesn't deserve a title shot.
Think about that.
I don't think. No way.
Think about the promotion and the lead up if a Colby Covington and a Ben Askren got in a press conference and started to have a back and forth.
Yeah. I mean,
it would be absolutely hilarious.
I mean, Colby Covington hasn't even fought in so long. Like he's like, what I mean? You have at some point you have to fight. Yes, he's on a 6-fight win streak.
Yeah.
He's knocked off some good names. Rafael Dos Anjos, Damian Maia, Dong Hyun Kim. I mean, like, he's got some good key wins, and he's the interim champion. But I mean, at some point you have to fight.
Yeah.
You can't just keep talking. And I mean, yeah, Masvidal took a 2-year absence, but he was doing his thing and whatnot. But you look at he came back fresh and he smashed Darren Till in 2 rounds, and Darren Till had just come off a title fight, also, but he got choked out by the former champ Tyron Woodley. So, the welterweight's a pretty strong. It's one of the strongest divisions in the UFC right now.
It is,
especially coming off that decision win. Usman smash, taking that title from Woodley. Mm-hmm. Woodley got the offer to fight Robbie Lawler. He didn't want it. He said he was injured. And you got a guy like Ben Askren who steps up. I mean, but is Ben Askren good?
Is he?
I don't know. No idea. No idea if Ben Askren's good. No idea whatsoever.
He's very one-dimensional, I can tell you that, because
but he does the one thing good, which Joe Rogan preaches. Black belt himself, Joe Rogan.
Yeah.
Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu
is a beast.
Is grappling. Grappling is, look at Kamaru Usman. He out-grappled Tyron Woodley for the welterweight strap.
He did.
Ben Askren was getting smashed against Robbie Lawler, but then he put him in that bulldog choke. I mean, Lawler just needs to, that was a tough call.
It was very
tough by Herb Dean, but it is what it is. Lawler doesn't care. He still got paid $125,000. He doesn't care.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, but that's I'm looking forward to see what else Ben Askren can pull out the hat, man. Because the guy throughout the entire fight with Lawler, he was just shooting for legs. He wasn't trying to stand with him at all, and rightfully so. Robbie would tear his head off if he ever did. But yeah, that's going to be an exciting one. Masvidal showcased his power against Till, like you said.
Well, his boxing is just great, so he'll just want to stand and throw, So.
Yeah.
And then another one, Luke Rockhold moving up to lightweight for the first time.
Yeah, that's going
to fight Jan Blachowicz. Takes a break from modeling for Ralph Lauren. Thank you, Luke. But last fight, 2018. I mean, not the big layoff. He's a year and a half off. February 2018, he lost, got knocked out by Yoel Romero, who is the rightful middleweight champion.
Yeah,
the rightful middleweight champion. But that's fine.
Yeah, I think
also that loss in 2016 to Bisbing. And he came back in 2017. He just fights once a year. Luke Rockhold fights once a year. You know what I mean? He doesn't need to fight, but he's doing it anyways. And he's going to do it against a guy who's coming off a loss, Jan Blachowicz. He got knocked out in February by Thiago Santos, and that got him a title fight.
And this is a fresh start for Luke Rockhold too. He had a little bit of up and downs in the middleweight. This is a fresh start for him. He has some stuff to prove to people that this is where he belongs. I know if he gets a win over his next opponent here, he's more than likely gonna fight. What's his name now? He fought John Jones last.
What are you talking about?
What's his name? The guy that fought John Jones last.
Well, the one. Oh, are you talking about Anthony Smith?
Anthony Smith. I think if Luke Rockhold beats this guy now, he'll more than likely go on to fight Anthony Smith, just because the two of them have a little bit of bad blood.
But there's another guy. Anthony Smith. It's just a kind of a murderer's row for John Jones. He's basically just smashing everyone.
Yeah.
Anthony Smith. He fought Thiago Santos at middleweight too, so you could see not middleweight. He fought Thiago Santos and lost.
Anthony Smith.
Yeah,
so they could,
at middleweight. At middleweight. So if Santos loses, Smith could be in line for another fight. But yeah, I mean, we will see. We will see. So, anyways, that is it, Seaf. I hope it was enjoyable.
It was absolutely great. I really do appreciate you having me on the show again. This is my favorite topic to speak about. No
worries.
Pleasure.
And make sure to watch Seaford and I tonight on 8 p.m. on Cayman 27. Fight Night 5, brought to you by Elite Marble and Granite. Cayman versus Trinidad and Tobago. Amateur national team boxing. Cayman versus TTO. Back in the 3-4-5. Tune in. Thanks, Seaf. More Let's Talk Sports Radio after this. Stick around. Welcome back to Let's Talk Sports Radio right here on 94.9 Bob FM, brought to you by Gino's Pizzeria. Feels like a pizza night, folks. Go get yourself a nice New York slice. Joining me now from the furthest point of Canada, not the Yukon Territories. It's not even called that anymore. From British Columbia, friend of the show, but first time on the radio. You've seen him on Let's Talk Sports on Cayman 27, the one and only MC Paul Wammer. Good morning, sir. How are you out there in the beautiful mountains and the nice smelling air of British Columbia? How are you?
Very good, buddy. Very good. But let me tell you, it's not hot up here right now.
No? What's it like? What's it like?
I'm on the golf course, and it's like 10 degrees. It's not normally like this, but we're suffering through it. So.
Well, you're on vacation, right?
Yes, sir.
That's nice. And, of course, you're golfing. You're beloved, passionate golfer and member of the Cayman Islands Golf Association. They left today as well for the Caribbean Championships. Of course, the men defending their title. Best of luck to Team Cayman. But, we're not here to talk about golf. I bring you on the show for your hockey acumen, sir. Okay? That is why you are here. All right. So, first things first, obviously, 11,000 plus Canadians here. Also, did you know Pascal Siakam is in Cayman right now?
I did see that, yes.
Yes. I only got 26 inbox messages saying, hey, sports guy, he's here. What are you going to do? I'm like, I don't know. Joe Avery, the weather guy, it's his last day at Cayman 27, so we all went out with him instead. Love you, Pascal, but I'm not going to leave the weather guy's party for that. So fair enough. We're going to start with the Toronto Maple Leafs, of course, the lightning rod of all hockey news. And so they make three key moves around the draft. First thing is they they move Patrick Marleau. They get off his money, $6.5 million, $6 million and change, and they give up a 2020 first, some protections on it. I believe it's top 10 protected, and I believe they swap 6 and 7s picks with Carolina. So they open up some room. They then use that money to sign Andreas Johnson. Got a 4-year deal, $3.4 million, and Kasperi Kapanen, of course, one of the key pieces that came back in the Phil Kessel deal. He got a 3-year deal, $3.2 million. So some nice young depth guys. But what's happening, of course, free agency for NBA and NHL opens on Monday. Thank you for Constitution Day, so I can just stare at my phone for 12 hours to see what's going to happen with Toronto sports. But basically, reading Toronto media, it's like the Leafs are being held up by the Marner. They can't do anything to improve the rest of the team until they get the Marner deal done, because then they're going to be capped out because Marner wants $10 million or 10.5 or whatever. But they're going to be limited to trades because they are bringing Marner back, but they're going to be limited to improving their defense on trades. What do you think of this? What do you think of this, you Vancouver Canucks fan?
Well, I mean, the whole year last year was spent talking about Marner, and now the time has come, so they got to get this done. Freeing up that space, they got a sweetheart of a deal going with Marleau, able to free up that money to sign the other two guys, because I really thought Kapanen deserved a good shake. Which he got, which is fantastic. But it's going to be interesting to see what they do with Martin. I know our lovely Canucks here will be happy to take Gardner off your hands to help up free some more space.
Well, Gardner's a free agent, and they probably at this point, do they even have enough? They have Morgan Riley, Nikita Zaitsev, who doesn't want to be there, Jake Muzzin, and that's it. Hainsey, Dermott, they're all free agents. Or I believe there's Dermott has an option, but they only have like 3, and Justin Holl, who's a depth defenseman. So they only have like 3 to 4 defensemen under contract, and they don't have Marner under contract yet. So, you look at Austin Matthews, 11.6, John Tavares, 11. What's a fair number for Mitch Marner?
Oh, well, I know they're going to have to give him at least north of 9. Whether that's good enough for Marner, he's probably going to get, if he's going to get an offer sheet, I'm sure.
Do you think he's going to get offer sheeted?
He's going to have to come up 10.
If he gets offer sheeted, isn't the and the Leafs don't match, they get 4 first-round picks. Is that not correct?
Yeah, exactly.
So,
but you got a guy that's that good. At the same time, that's the biggest problem with the Leafs right now. They don't have any defense, and they showed that in the playoffs last year. That's why they took the early exit. So they really got to take a bold move here and really do something with their defense.
Yeah. Well, you saw a defenseman go, obviously a high-profile defenseman, PK Subban goes from Nashville to the Devils, New Jersey, in exchange for a couple picks and a player or two, none of which our audience will know, unless you're a savvy hockey fan. I'm not going to insult your intelligence, but PK Subban and his $9 million deal per year move on. So what do you think of that deal? Because, in one weekend, they got the number 1 pick, Hughes, and they got PK Subban. It's pretty good work by Ray Shero in New Jersey, no?
Oh, there's no doubt. That was a massive move for really next to nothing. They had the first pick overall, which is great, and they pick up Hughes. He's going to be a little stud for sure, but I couldn't believe that Subban went for, basically a couple of picks. Everybody, all the other GMs in the league were scratching their head going, if we knew that was available, why weren't we in there? So we'll see what happens with that one. It's a great thing for New Jersey. They've definitely changed their team overnight.
What is the salary cap ruining hockey?
I think it's keeping it together. I think what they need to do, though, and another CBA game is coming up next year, they need to start talking about how if you've drafted a player, how you can keep that player, and then maybe a certain percentage of his salary doesn't go towards the salary cap, because you want to be able to, not be penalized for having a good development system.
But that's what's happening in Toronto, right?
Players,
That's what's happening in Toronto. They're on the brink of losing Mitch Marner. And it's not because he won't take $9 million. He's a $10 million player, but it's almost like the NBA. It's like the NBA is different because you can pay over the cap and pay the luxury. And even in Toronto, they're one of the few teams that will pay the money up front too. So, if you're Marner, do you want to play in a team that has the chance to win, or, is this a Marner problem or is this a Leafs problem?
Well, I think this is where good GMs earn their money, when they're able to get certain players and keep certain players, and it's all the pieces to the puzzle. And then some are really good at it. I mean, look at 2 years in now, Las Vegas is in trouble. They're already maxing out their salary cap. So, but they're all in. I mean, they're a Stanley Cup contender, so they're spending everything they can, and they should. But right now they're battling it too. So.
All right, I got a Canucks fan here in Cayman, Sir Rodney. Will Benning make a move and strengthen the Canucks blue line? The R wants to know. Wammer, tell us. Tell the listeners.
They will definitely bolster their blue line this year. They're going to go after one of three players. Myers seems to be the obvious pick.
He is going to get paid.
The money he's demanding seems a little crazy, but at the same time, he's a BC boy, and I think he'd be a great addition to the team. Say we're talking about Gardner in Toronto. They were willing to look at him, and there's a few others out there. So lots to be picked from if you got cap space, and Vancouver's got a lot of cap space. In fact, they got so much we got to pay $3 million a year for the next 3 years for Luongo retires.
What do you think about that?
Well, I mean, rules are rules, but at the same time, that deal was on a different CBA agreement, so I think they're going to try to appeal it and say, that was a different time, different legal agreement, so why should that pertain to us now? But I mean, that's a pretty big hit, $3 million for 3 more years.
Yeah, I mean, especially, I don't know, I'm taking a quick look in the terms of what the NHL salary cap is going to be. What did I see it as the other day? I was looking, but it's not. It's
$81.5 million or something. They thought it was going to go to 83 or 84, but it didn't.
And that's it. There's the difference right there. You could have a player or you can have someone who's retired, right? So that's when signing those long-term deals like Luongo got a 10-year, $1 deal. It's coming back to bite Vancouver, right?
Oh, totally. It was a bad deal from the start. And even he said it when he was playing for the Canucks. He's like, listen, this is just a horrible contract. I can't even play because I have to stay here. They can't do anything with me.
Yeah. Oh, that holdout was not even that long ago where he's basically, begging them to trade him, right? Or, let him move on. Eventually, obviously, did go back to the Panthers. Well, tell me, what do you think of the Canucks right now? You're a Canuck guy. What do you think of this team? Obviously, they're in a rebuild.
I'm loving the future of it. We've got a bunch of young guys. Pedersen, obviously, is a super stud. You got the snipers in Besser, and you've got other young players coming around. It's a real exciting team to watch. This Miller trade that we made before the deadline was a little strange, but at least he's kind of a top 6 player, and we gave up a first-round pick for it, which is pretty hefty. But at the same time, he's a proven player, and we need to get the puck in the net. A couple more defensemen, and at least we got the money to go out and get this stuff. It's just a matter of what's available.
And of course, Pedersen wins rookie honors, 5th overall pick. So good value for you guys. A great player who looks like he's been going to be a keeper, a franchise player. Yes.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. And then this year we pick up a Russian, which could have been the best player in the draft, but he's under contract with the KHL for 2 more years. It's going to make it interesting to see if one, he gets out of that, or if we just wait for him. But at the same time, when you're 18 years old, you kind of wait a couple of years for those guys anyway. So he's going to get some professional experience before he gets there. And apparently he's supposed to be quite the player. So future looks bright.
Yeah, I mean, at least in the immediate future, last year, Besser 2nd in rookie honors, and then this year you get Pedersen. So, the year before that, was it the Bo Horvat, the trade, the Bo Horvat draft, I believe? So, I mean,
that was one more before that, but at the same time, you got a great leader there. The guy, he's a solid captain. They're going to name him captain here soon. We're just waiting for that to happen. And, the team's got some great direction. So, as far as the Canadian teams go, and then you look at Edmonton.
Yeah.
And you think, what the heck can these guys do? I mean, that's just a train wreck. But they've got rid of their front office, which is great. I think they need to change it up. And let's see if McDavid can be the player everybody thinks he is. I mean, the player he's there, but can he be a leader? Can he be that guy to change that team and the way they come to games and want to win?
What do you do? If you're running the Edmonton Oilers, what are you doing? You're the general manager, Wammer.
Well, first of all, you got to hold guys accountable to their game. And that's from top to bottom. So even if McDavid has a tough game, which obviously won't happen, but you put him on the bench. You let the guys that are trying hard and playing the system to stay on the ice. You let some young guys come up, give them an opportunity, and it creates a positive environment that everybody's working for each other, not for themselves.
What because they got now Ken Holland in there, former Detroit general manager. What does this guy do? Where do you begin? Can you reverse trades? Can you go back in time and take mulligans? Can you get Taylor Hall back? You know what I mean? Like, what do you? I don't know.
And then you got Lucic, you got all these things, right? Another bad contract for a player that's underproducing, and I mean, the only bright light there is he started to come around a little bit at the end of last year. At least some effort was there. Yeah. But it's going to be interesting. Holland's is a hockey genius. Did a lot of good stuff in Detroit for a lot of years. So at least they got somebody in there with the respect of not only the players, but the league, opponents. Everybody going to know this guy's going to put some product together. So I expect a lot different team this year.
What my man R has another question here in Cayman. So what is Arvid Kostmer? No, that's the 7th round pick. Let me take a quick peek. Sorry, I have to spruce up on my Vancouver Canucks drafting. Podkolzin. Sorry, my apologies.
Yeah, Podkolzin, yeah.
Kostmer was the final pick. So let's say he goes back to the KHL. Rodney wants to know, what if they offer him big money? Then what do you do with that pick? What do you do? Like, what does the franchise do?
Well,
is it a wasted pick?
That's why he slipped to where Vancouver got him, right? I mean, he should have been a top 5 pick, but he slipped to number 10, and that's the simple reason right there. So these guys are taking a flyer on the fact this kid really wants to play in the NHL. And I mean, it wasn't long after draft day, he was back on a plane and gone to Russia. So I'm hoping, maybe Goldobin will have a word telling him how much he loves Vancouver. I mean, there's a guy that, could go back to the KHL, hasn't done a lot in Vancouver, but wants to stay. So maybe there's a, mentality there. These guys want to play in the NHL. It is the best talent in the world, obviously. So
this is the thing, though. You talk to, I think it was Mark Messier that said it once when Messier played for the Canucks, and then afterwards, I think he said afterwards, it's the most, if you play for the Canucks, you spend the most time on an airplane because it's the furthest point from every single other city and state, in North America. You spend the most time, there's the most travel. Does that hurt the Canucks when you're recruiting people that you have to factor that in?
I don't think it factors into the recruiting, but I think it definitely affects the play. And the other team that has that same problem is the Dallas Stars. There's nobody in their division that's in the same time zone. So those guys are continuously, making, adjustments in their daily schedule. And I mean, we know professional sports is all about routines and what these guys do and when they eat and when they sleep and all that stuff. So, that's a trouble. And then Vancouver traveling, at least now, I mean, the only good thing about having all these California is you got, a lot of teams are a lot closer now. LA, San Jose, Arizona even. So, and time for golf in between.
Fair enough. Let me ask you, I got you on the phone. Let's talk a little basketball because the 2 free agent periods line up. What do you think of NBA free agency? Everybody wants to know if Kawhi is going to come back to Toronto, if he's going to take a term, or all these other guys. The Lakers, they have Anthony Davis, LeBron James under contract, and that's about it. They still have to rebuild a team from scratch. All this max money slots, all these salaries they're trying to clear. Well, what do you think of it? What do you think's going to happen? We'll start with Toronto.
The money's amazing, isn't it? I mean, they're talking $35 million a year. Kawhi's got, I actually like your point you made. I saw one time last week when you said Kawhi comes back to Toronto for another year, and after that he can sign the max contract. But until then, he can't sign max this year.
2 years. So I had to correct myself. It was 2. He has to take. This is going into year 9. He's an year 8 player, so he's got to take a 2-year, and then he comes back in 2021, I believe. So he's got to take the option as well. But still, I agree. Short-term deals are the way that the league is going, at least for the NBA.
Oh, totally.
Short-term deals because as now players are more savvy, their agents are more savvy. You get that 10-year max deal, unless you're a super max guy like Giannis is, like Anthony Davis is going to be, like Kemba Walker is going to be, where you can take up that 35% of your team's cap based on, years of service with the same team. I mean, if you're Kawhi, Lowry, Ibaka, and Gasol, all their contracts end after next year. And then after that, you can rebuild with Pascal and, Fred VanVleet. And then you got 3 players VanVleet would be in the final year of his deal at $9 million. Pascal would be in the first year of his, what's going to definitely be I'm pretty sure he's going to get a max deal, Pascal Siakam, when his contract is up at the end of in 2 years' time. So at the end of next season. Yeah. So What do you do? Like, I mean, what do you do? But why would you want to go to, if you're Kawhi, do you really want to go play with LeBron and Anthony Davis and nobody else? Do you want to go to the Clippers and play with, I mean, like you look at a couple of decent guys. A lot of their guys are up for free agent. They don't have a point guard. They've got Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, the Canadian kid. They got a couple decent guys. But I mean, if you're Kawhi, what's the motivation to go elsewhere other than Toronto? You have a chance to win again and eat forever in any restaurant you want in Toronto and live. You have a country behind you. You're Kawhi. What would you do? You're Kawhi Leonard, Wammer.
Oh, boy, my Kawhi Leonard would definitely be staying in Toronto. I mean, you came out, you led a team, you won a championship. You got, like you said, an entire country that's cheering for you, not just simply a city. At the same time, he's so unpredictable. You just don't know what goes through that guy's mind. And when they freed up, they made those trades to trade away 3 players in the Lakers and made up space for a super salary. You're like, oh my God, you got to be kidding me! The Lakers might go after this. But yeah, and then I mean, a lot of the guys that I've been listening to on the basketball shows are saying they don't think Kawhi's a guy that wants to go in and be on a super team. He kind of likes being that guy. So if you're all of a sudden you're just one of the cogs, that's not his style. So I don't see him going to the Lakers.
Definitely no.
I sure hope he sticks around Toronto.
Well, this is the thing. You have LeBron James coming off his first major injury of his career, okay? He's going to be like approaching 40 when his contract's done. You'll have Anthony Davis under a 5-year max money deal, super max, whatever. But you have no assets to make the team better. So if anybody goes to the Lakers, Kyrie Irving, D'Angelo Russell, Kemba Walker, because they're going to need a guard that's going to want to shoot. It's another reason why Kawhi's not a good fit for the Lakers. You have these guys gave up 3 picks, okay, and in a pick swap. So for the next 5 years, they have no first round draft assets, and you're going to be capped out if they sign another 2 players or 1 player, they're going to be up against the cap for at least another 3 years. LeBron took a 5-year deal, so this is going to be the second of his 5 years. And then, Davis is going to be in the first of next year. He's going to sign a new deal, or that deal will start next year. So anybody that joins the Lakers, you have no means of making the team better. So why would you go there? Just because it's Los Angeles?
Well, I mean, the attraction's been there for a long time. But I just don't see it. I don't see it. I mean, I know today's basketball, they just buy what they want. They they go to a free agent or they make a trade. It's amazing the money they throw around. Like you said, they get hit with penalties for going over caps. It's not like they have to stay under a cap. So if they want to buy it, they buy it. It's crazy.
Yeah, I don't know. I just think, coming off a championship like this, well, the other thing is, did you know the Lakers were the team that fired Alex McKechnie, the director of sports science for the Raptors, who created load management?
I did not know that.
They did fire him. The Lakers fired that genius who came up with load management. Do you think the Lakers are going to give Kawhi, the Clippers are going to give Kawhi a load management deal like we did? No way.
Mm-hmm.
They're not going to have the depth.
No, there's no way. Yeah, no way.
No.
But obviously it works.
It definitely worked. Either way, I think Toronto's in good shape. I think Kawhi comes back 2 years, $70 million, and then we'll see after in 2021. What else do we have to cover? What hole are you on right now? Did your entire pack leave you?
No. I'm just walking beside him as we go.
Yeah. Are you following the Blue Jays?
Well,
what a disaster franchise that is.
Out of 1,000 seasons, so
yeah.
I usually wait till about September to start kicking in what's going on there. But I mean, they're not having the greatest season, but they got some little flashes here and there.
Well, you got you got 3 sons of 3 former major leaguers. You got Bo Bichette, Dante Bichette's son. You got Kevin Biggio, Craig Biggio's son, and of course you got Vladdy Jr., the son of Vladdy Sr. Yeah. And I think every day Marcus Stroman is on the mound saying how, he's happy, he's sad, he wants to be with the team, he doesn't like losing, he's going to be traded, he's not going to be traded. Like, I don't know. What does this team do? I mean, baseball is like you need to have the right amount of veterans and young players all peaking at the right time for like a window of like 2 to 3 years. Otherwise, you're basically screwed. Yes, isn't that how, to me? That's how baseball works.
No doubt. And I mean, it always comes down to injuries. It comes down to pitching. Pitching is number one. Maybe they need to go out and get Susan Sarandon to come in for the team. You know, that
a Bull Durham reference
might help them out a little bit.
A Bull Durham reference. I love it. Oh man,
some garter belts on the mound, man. That's what we need.
That's too funny. When are you coming back? When are you coming back to the island?
I fly out tonight. Get back tomorrow.
Oh, beauty. All right, brother. Well, we'll hook up over the summer. And always a pleasure talking to you. Great sports fan. And I guess that means you'll be back at your stomping grounds, Macabuca, for Canada Day on Monday, yes?
Yeah, buddy. You betcha. It's going to be a fun one.
All right. Thank you so much, Wammer. Appreciate it. Always a good time.
Jordan.
Safe flight home, brother.
Thanks, Bob. We'll see you soon.
All right. Take care. That was Paul MC Wammer, my man. He's over in Vancouver, British Columbia, talking a little bit about everything, folks. You know, we like to mix it up here. So that's that. I want to remind you guys tonight, we got a huge fight over at the Dalmain Ebanks Boxing Gym. Fight Night 5 brought to you by Elite Marble and Granite. Okay. It's going to be 6 fights, 3 male and 3 female. What we're going to do, we're going to put it, we're starting at 8 p.m., 7:30. The doors open at the Dalmain Ebanks Boxing Gym. All ages are welcome. Cayman returns to the ring. This, of course, the Cayman Islands Boxing Association national team returns to the ring once again for the first time since last November. It's going to be a great card. Cayman is going to be headlined. Co-main events, Alexander the Great Smith at bantamweight, taking on Mike Innes of Trinidad and Tobago. Alex, of course, is a 2-time bantamweight Caribbean gold medalist. We also have the reigning defending light flyweight Caribbean gold medalist, Hurley's Media's own Brandy B. Barnes, stepping into the ring in the second co-main event of the evening. That's going to be another one. She's going up to flyweight for the second time in her career. She'll be facing a young boxer named Faith Ramnath. Then, of course, we've got my main man, Eduardo Tito Montalvo at junior welterweight. This is going to be a tough one, folks. He's facing the reigning gold medalist for the Caribbean at that weight class. His name is Blessings Waldrop. And then we have 3 debuts, Jaden Ecclestone, Hepzibah Angel, and Leah Lajat for the Cayman Islands. So the card starts 8 p.m. It's also going to be live on Cayman 27. So we are super pumped about that. And we're super pumped about today's show. Thank you so much for all of you that called in. We got a few comments on WhatsApp. And of course, Pascal, call me, brother. Email me, jordanarmanese@hurleysmedia.ky. Let's get an interview. Come on, brother. I know you're having a good time here in Cayman. Cayman is Raptor country. And this is the Raptors official station. Let's call it right there. We're the people station, 94.9 Bob FM. That's it for LTS Radio. Join me every Saturday, 9 to 10 p.m. on 94.9. Brought to you by Gino's Pizzeria. For Hurley's Media, I'm a sports guy, and I'm out.